perfectly honest.
And I think the drafting has been very strong for KT this season. They have quite a flexible champion pool, especially BDD. I think has flexed it more than anyone else.
I think BDD is like, I keep saying this, and he was like player of the year last year as well. But I think that this has already been like the start of what could be BDD's best year, which is ridiculous because this guy debuted so many years ago. And he just keeps getting better and better.
It's not like his last year was bad or his 2024 was bad or his 2023 KT 17-1 was bad either. Like he's had just such a consistent run.
And it just keeps getting better, like individually. Yeah. Like BDD is just so incredibly good. On your screen right now, we do see the Pantheon is banned away this time, so passing the test is DK. They will have to take away the Rumble at the same time, but what is the next one that goes?
So they definitely should take that away. Well, we're looking at the Varus here, actually, by KT, and then you're looking at Orianna, you're looking at potentially the, I mean, with the Nocturne ban here, you could ban Ryze if you're really not
Karma has to be banned, right?
Karma, in the hands of Effort, has already proven to be a bit of an issue, so if they have an answer to it, like they could try to play Seraphine into it, but I'm not a big fan of that.
It's an awkward one to first pick, to be honest. So the Jace is going to be taken away.
This is smart because Perfect has looked phenomenal on this pick, but they can either go Karma here or they can go Orianna. That's the trade.
Yep.
Or you could Orianna. Go Jarvan, I suppose, but I think I'd prefer the Karma.
So now you get the Orianna on the other side, and you can pick it with the Jarvan, like you were talking about. So Lucid not going to have the Nocturne available to pair alongside this, but Orianna Jarvan is a lot of power.
So does BDD go for the Azir pick here, or the Ryze is what I expected, to be honest, because he's been so good at this pick, and you could just say, all right, on one hand, you guys have insane engage. You have the Orianna Shockwave, you have the Jarvan Cataclysm, you have the Ball Carrier.
Wow.
But we have the damage. And so they have the safe Ezreal pick here for damage. They get Ezreal Karma, and they get the Ryze, wave clear, and consistent late game damage. And sometimes that could be enough if you just play defensively. As the Nautilus pick here early is an opt-in to a lane. It's not going to be a fun time, let's just say.
I'm a little bit worried for how this one's going to go for Dplus. It all depends on what Smash is going to be playing. Obviously, if they have a lot of all-in potential in the early stages, you can navigate this lane, but it is still so incredibly difficult, especially when this Ezreal Karma gets rolling. First ban in our next round is going to be Xin Zhao, targeting the jungle here as Lucid has already locked away the Jarvan. The Xin, the Pantheon, now both banned away, as there goes the Sivir to pair with this Nautilus.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Smash's plan is going to be. Trying to play Caitlyn here would be quite challenging.
Just Draven. Just Draven it, Smash.
Draven
don't be scared.
Would be fun.
I don't think it's a good idea, but
I don't think they should play Ziggs Nautilus, and I don't think they should play Jhin either. So their options are quite limited, as we'll see Vi as the jungle pool gets even thinner here for Cuzz.
I mean, Cuzz does have a fairly infinite champion pool.
I would like to see him on something tanky, but there's not a whole lot of great options for that.
Mundo!
I mean, actually, believe it or not, it could kind of work here.
Could be a thing.
They don't have a lot of CC. They have the binding from the Rune Prison. They have, a little bit of Karma CC with the leash. But MF, another strong lane. I actually kind of would have liked the MF with the Nautilus. Felt like a strong lane. I'm thinking Caitlyn here. Draven would be a crazy one that needs really some sort of crazy pick to follow up with it, like a Camille top lane or something.
Yeah. I'm a bit intrigued as to where Smash is going to go here. We're going to have to find out, as he'll need to pick relatively soon. Unless they go for a top lane pick, but I think that would be kind of crazy. I think giving Siwoo counter pick sounds like the best choice.
I mean, the problem is they pick Nautilus, right?
Oh, okay.
There's so many different lanes you can play if you don't pick Nautilus here. There's other range supports you could play. You could have played a Lulu lane and just try to...
I mean, Nami was up, like there's a bunch of choices. Obviously, they might have wanted to change like when they picked their support, and so therefore maybe Nami gets banned if you live in that kind of world, but Vayne top into the Gnar will be picked up by Perfect once again. He did this into Cassante earlier on in the year and picked up a victory.
It's got to be. Is it going to be like something like Kindred? Are they going crazy mode?
Oh no, Effort. Remember the last game that they lost against Gen G, they lost it because he didn't hover Nasus. He hovered Teemo instead. And this time, He hasn't hovered Nasus yet.
Wukong actually kind of fits the bill here. Gives them the engage. It gives them extra peel. It works incredibly well with Karma. Gets the speed ups.
Where was the Nasus effort?
He's a changed man. You are never going to sell me on this.
Well, I mean,
like,
you're not going to win the lane, Wolf. You will not win the lane.
Like, of all the picks.
Wait. Hear me out. I've got the cook. I got the cook on this one. Okay, so basically, you don't have Nocturne available, right? And Nocturne's really, really good at diving in and getting amazing ball placement. You know what Kai'Sa does? Dives in!
It would be pretty unfortunate if a dive target that Kai'Sa chose could have a Wukong on top of it to defend it, or a massive shield from a Karma, or also be an Ezreal that would just shift towards its friends. Kai'Sa's a great pick into Ezreal. Ezreal Karma, a bit of a different story. They have a Gnar, so there's a little bit of extra ranged AD damage. You know, if the play around Mega, there's some engage tools there as well. But you were playing Kai'Sa into double AD carry with Ryze. There are 3 insanely consistent damage dealers here, and if you go on like Ryze as Kai'Sa, he's got Seraphs, he's probably just going to laugh at you, but even if you kill him, there's still 2 other threats. There's an Ezreal there, there's a Vayne there, and you're not going to live after you kill the first target. I think this draft here from CVMax is a bit of an overcook for me. I like the Gnar, I like the Jarvan start. They've got engaged for days. The dive is strong, but there's too many targets to kill. You're going to need some big shockwaves, I think, if you make this draft work.
The thing is, they don't have a lot of health bar on the side of KT, right? I mean, Wukong is the closest thing to a tank that they have, so if they do manage to get onto a target, that target will die. It's just whether they can get to that point through KT in this game 1. All right, I've got more for you, Wolf.
All right, so give me all of the reasons why I should trust.
All right, no, don't trust. I'm not telling you, don't go that far. Don't be crazy on me. No. What I mean is, so there is the potential that Lucid pitches a tent. Okay. And in the 3v3 bottom lane, I actually feel like Jarvan, Kai'Sa, Nautilus could get something done.
I agree with what you're saying, because obviously the Cuzz early game Wukong isn't going to have the same level of power as the Jarvan. Doesn't have CC. You know, is just able to do a little bit of burst damage. Has some mobility, which matters less when you're pitching a tent. But it's the problem of the minions. Like, the minions will be pushing for KT all the time. So there's a vision advantage there. There's always going to be, you know, brush control, the extra damage from the minions if you really wanted to extend a fight. These are all problematic things. And Effort's just going to keep poking, and he's like trying to bait hooks here as well. He's like, yeah, go for it. We also went barrier.
He's going to need a level 2 if he does want the hook. Yeah. I think Korea took W.
Yeah, you're right. That is correct.
But that's what happens when you just need to soak Qs over
and over again. There you go.
There
it is. Yep. As Effort knows he gets level 2 first, drops the W.
Well, at least the... yeah, Q going to land there from Smash, all onto Effort to try and get some damage there as Korea. Now looking for the opportunity as the level 3 gank is coming in for Lucid. Heal comes out. Let's see whether they can get any more as the Arcane Shift out of aiming. That may spell the end of it. However, Korea goes forward, finds a bit of value, but will get snared. And now, even with the minions contending for it, that's a lot of damage towards Korea. But now it's the return journey. And that time, the flash is answered by Lucid. Aiming has a barrier, but does not have his life anymore. And the hook from downtown! That is the Korea we wanted to see today.
That was some shades of barrel right there.
That's what I'm talking about.
That was some barrel level shenanigery right there from Career. He's like, I'm going back in. Lucid's like, I don't have my buttons. I'm out of here. But he convinces Lucid to come back. And aiming an effort to like, nah, Lucid doesn't come back. And it's the play there from Career that tricks him, okay? Lucid's like, I don't have buttons. And aiming an effort like, oh, okay, Career, thanks for half your health bar. Lucid's like, aha.
I mean, we've also seen EQ flashes from Jarvan's hit like this, but this answer was just gorgeous.
And aiming,
Lucid.
Because he had flash, he thought he was safe there, but it's the flash from the Jarvan, like you said, that gets the flag drag to buffer into him and get the knock up. Clean stuff from Lucid, but you know, I was very worried when Career went back in. I was like, oh, this is looking even potentially worse. And then not only do they get the kills on the bottom lane there, they get both flashes out of aiming and effort. So a huge turnaround, and it took some trickery, but it's working.
The fact that Korea did that without using Flash is insane, because this lane relies so much on winning all-ins, and so having both of those flashes available means that even in the 2v2, they might be able to get something done. However, it is a cull that Smash has gone for. They may not necessarily be hyper-investing into more aggression towards this bottom side to snowball it through, maybe just accepting that they have now found themselves a little bit of leeway.
I mean, it's a huge win, and he can just go, okay, well, I'll explode in the mid-game. I have so much more money now. He's 650 up, and the problem is your first buy isn't going to take away Karma's buttons, so she's still going to just shove the lane in with the Ezreal. So I actually think this is the correct buy here from Smash. Just invest in a further future lead. Yeah. Don't look at this if you're a Dplus fan. Just, you know, avert your eyes, because...
Hey, I don't see Korea on that list, okay?
True. He has been banned more than he has been picked as well. This Nautilus pick is really high prio in the LCK despite a lack of success.
Yeah. So let's see whether Korea can show us what all of the bans are about. As already, I mean, he is finding the angles, the flash forward, he manages to catch aiming after the arcane shift, and now Smash comes forward. Another knock-up from Lucid, and Smash collects his third of the game.
All right.
Okay, well, that might be your answer. Maybe that's right. That's it right there.
I guess so. What was the shift angle?
I don't know, but it was into an anchor.
Yeah, maybe just go back. I think he went to the side there. Let's watch again, because did my eyes deceive me, or did he?
I think he shifted. Oh my!
You gotta go left
Lord.
there.
He was like, no effort. I'll save you.
Yeah.
We need the Celine Dion. That's what we need.
Well, effort's heart will go on.
It will. Aiming stopped.
Yikes. Okay, well, that happens from time to time. You know, I wasn't convinced about the Kai'Sa pick, but at this point, I kind of feel like it could have been anything.
I mean, it's been picked into Ezreal all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it is the theoretical answer, but like you were saying, paired with the Nautilus, I think is a bridge too far.
Into Karma,
into this lane.
Yeah,
exactly
if it was like
right.
Ezreal, Leona, I'm like, sure, all day long, fine.
Yep.
Absolutely. But you know what? I guess if you just get 3 kills early, make me look very foolish by my take.
Hey, do you know what the best thing is? As Korea is going to have to get out of here because there's a Realm Warp coming on forward. No flash available for Korea as now Smash, I don't think he's going to be helping. And Korea does connect the anchor, but he's dead before it actually does anything. Or at least I thought he hit the anchor. Regardless, he was going to die.
Look at the river. There are 4 control wards across the river here by KT Rolster, and
would you say that they control the river?
They do have quite a bit of control, and they end up getting this gank off because they know that Lucid is not in the vicinity. It's clearing his top jungle. They pull this off. They don't have enough power to start the dragon, and Cuzz just got level 6. But I think this was a really good read from KT, and despite the early deficit here and the lack of attention that Cuzz has given to this bottom lane because he is Wukong, and he thought that, you know, Karma Ezreal should be self-sufficient, especially with Ezreal's shift ability. But they ended up getting a lot of vision elsewhere on the map and are still able to turn this into a win.
My lord, Effort is so brave. Isn't he so... Another great hook, but a good arcane shift to answer it this time around.
They may be able to start Dragon, Dplus here. They have a lot of control with the back timing here of KT. Lucid's in the area. I think they should clear this wave as soon as possible and then head over and start it up. That's exactly what they're planning to do here. So this could be an extension of this early game, really working out quite heavily for Dplus. It's a strong early Dragon, so Soul a little bit nerfed by that as Effort is here, and it looks like we might have a... I don't think you can really contest this.
Well, the Drake is just going to get left alone.
Wow.
Yeah, Lucid will back away, respecting a lot the fact that Cuzz probably level 6. That Cyclone is very scary, could have been right there. And ShowMaker will be able to clear out this way. We haven't really checked in on the mid lane. The first roam there from BDD was definitely good, but it did cost him a few minions, so ShowMaker is ahead a little bit in that department.
Early Phage here for Perfect, starting to put the pressure on Siwoo. Had the lane frozen against Siwoo pretty heavily early on, so built up a 300 gold lead here. And no call buy or anything like that, just trying to naturally bully this Gnar where the attention has been bottom side. And all the while, because of this prio here, Cuzz is going to start up the grubs, and there isn't a response just yet. BDD doesn't have teleport, obviously, and doesn't have Realm Warp, so there's no support for Cuzz here, but because he's Wukong, he can just nope out if Lucid tries to challenge, which he will.
Yeah, he is going to nope out, like you say. But 2 grubs go over to KT. Very, very happy about that. She hits Mega and is trying to be frustrating, but I think Perfect is going to be all right with that tumble available.
Got the exhaust,
difficult to wallop him.
Pretty good for
that's a good point.
Siwoo. I feel like he's very happy with that. You know, the grubs were denied. All 3 of them, that is to say, especially with Ryze in this game. Would be really annoying if he did have that. Can they get over here and stop the dragon is the question, because right now Lucid is clearing his topside jungle. KT have had so much vision on this dragon, so they know that Dplus aren't doing it, but they haven't actually pulled the trigger themselves just yet. And waiting for the first Cyclone.
I think this game has really changed. After the champion select, I did feel like KT would be in really good standing in the early stages. Right now, we're seeing the DK have a slight lead in the early game. I'm wondering what it kind of looks like for the mid game now that DK are off to such a good start.
Well, I think the real problem for KT is that this Kai'Sa has Kraken Slayer before her call is cashed in, you know? This is where, even if ShowMaker is dead even, he doesn't have to have the lead. He needs to be set up as, okay.
Well, there's a shockwave onto BDD, but Lucid's already out of there, or at least attempting to. As Cuzz goes forward, he has to flash to respect the Cyclone. Cuzz doesn't push the button, so no flash now for the Jarvan is a huge deal, as Korea is trying to get over here as quickly as possible.
Aiming needs help. He's not going to be able to catch this wave here. He's going to true shot.
Yeah, so Smash takes a bit of damage, but otherwise it is this whole minion wave basically taken down. Aiming does get there for the cannon.
Okay.
Not too much of it actually is going to be removed.
Good crisis management here from KT. They group up as Lucid's trying to take this blue buff away in return.
Yeah, it does have ShowMaker there alongside him, and BDD needs to back. So they're not going to be out of challenge for this. It will be a successful steal.
The Ezreal, going back to your original point, though, of like, you know, how does this mid-game look? The Ezreal is significantly behind. It's not just that this Kai'Sa has 3 kills, but the Ezreal's lost some farm, you know, didn't get to have the pushing lane he was hoping for, only has 1 plate worth of gold, so the 2-item spike is significantly delayed. And while this Kai'Sa is incredibly strong, you know, the Vayne isn't online yet. Obviously, the Ryze is still putting together components here. So if you end up winning an early team fight here with this Kai'Sa, this lead it's already pretty massive, but it can balloon quite heavily. So KT really need to respect the fact that this is such a strong comp early and is so much stronger in this game, the scenario we're in this specific game. So any combo set up from Lucid and ShowMaker, if it hits, could be disastrous, maybe even game ending.
Well, Effort, I think, will need to flatten. No, he'll need to die. He's just going to die. So ShowMaker going to pick that one up. Caught warding there a little bit. Effort a little out of position is not what we've been seeing out of him so far this season. That's a great pickup here for DK, putting them 4-1 and should be able to guarantee the dragon.
Unfortunately for Cuzz, he wanted to, you know, go topside, finish clearing that jungle, and then maybe make an impact there before starting Dragon. So Effort wanted to go over and make sure they could continue to have vision around the Drake itself and the entry point there in the river, but ends up getting caught and taken out with really nothing expended for Dplus. You know, they just kind of kill him for free, get the Dragon anyways, and there is just no counterplay. There's no follow-up here for KT. And Cuzz was on the wrong side of the map, finds himself about 400 gold behind himself.
Speaking of the wrong side of the map, there's a Killer Instinct out of Smash. Cuzz gets into position though, and that is a Cyclone and a very dead Kai'Sa. ShowMaker now looks for BDD as the anchor somehow lands yet again, but the Shockwave doesn't, and so they won't have the follow-up damage to take down the Ryze. Final hour was procced here towards the top side as Siwoo did go extraordinarily low, but getting the shutdown onto Smash, a huge deal here for KT.
Looks like Aiming's going to greed for plates here as well, and I think he absolutely can because he has the coverage here from Effort. And so we'll get a plate and deny all of these minions. Going back to the initial play here, Smash just does not have the full information that Effort is here, and so finds himself having to look for this all-in, but Aiming has barrier. Cuzz shows up, uses the Cyclone with the Warrior's Trickster, doesn't have to flash. That's a big overextension. Luckily for Dplus, the kill goes over to Wukong. He uses gold well, but I think that KT would have rather Aiming pick up that kill. But
Aiming would have definitely rather.
He's the gold king.
Yeah, he's the gold king for a reason, and that is because he takes all of the gold, mostly from his team. So that is something he'll be sad about personally, because certainly not. And Wukong, Ryze, I think, are going to be the big carries in this game if KT are going to look good. But still, I mean, the gold lead is only extended here for DK since the early game. And it's still 1.6k here for Smash. And this Kai'Sa is what this DK comp's about, right? Like, ShowMaker, of course, is going to be really, really important, but largely for utility, it's Smash getting down that consistent DPS in these team fights. And so he needs to be strong. Rageblade on the way, will be done relatively soon. And Smash is just doing his very best to get there, get to these 2-item, 3-item spikes, and make something happen.
Yeah, Perfect does have his Hex Plate ready. This is the build he went for last time around.
Yep.
Just constantly using your ultimate to apply pressure in lane, and then in team fights later on is trying to generate a bigger lead here, but it has not really grown that much. Unfortunately for him, Siwoo is handling this matchup incredibly well. Only 10 CS down, only about 100 gold in it.
And if he's going to stay at this deficit, then the Gnar is going to be so much more useful later on in the game, right? Like, Gnar actually kind of can contribute in a team fight, whereas Vayne is a lot more about finding those jewels, and you don't really have the kind of AoE to make things happen. So
I think that the problem for KT is that, you know, this Gnar, if it's shut down, will have really big problems setting up in team fights. But with Smash being as ahead as he is, Siwoo has so much more agency. He's not just going to flop in side lanes. He'll actually be able to push as well. And, you know, this Vayne, like you said, doesn't do AoE damage as, okay, a bit of a choice here from Career.
Yeah, a choice indeed. As it's just supportal combat with aiming coming on over to convince Career to leave. Will acquiesce for now. And Effort is thinking about where to go. He was considering heading up towards that top side to try and make something happen, but that is not going to be his choice. We'll just head back towards this mid lane to help his Ezreal out. BDD over here. They do have... everyone's quests are now completed after BDD does do his, but Smash now with 2 items is big.
This is the Rage Blade spike here for the Kai'Sa early on. You're going to do so much in team fights, and actually, in this game state, before everyone comes online, you're actually a really consistent damage threat with this build. Is nice.
Good Warrior Trickster.
Yeah, getting out of there. But the next Dragon here for KT, they have to make a tough choice. They wanted to scale up to triple DPS threat, or do they want to risk this fight, try to look for a nice Cyclone angle, maybe catch somebody? Because if you lose this fight, I think Dplus's lead just gets too big.
And I think you have to pick your battles pretty effectively as KT.
Wow, and Dplus find this pocket of vision here. Okay, now we are going to see Siwoo dove, but he has got his Mega.
Yeah, Mega is in a great position. They do really need to respect the ultimate, but there is the Condemn, as Siwoo will go down. Perfect is just going to proc those Silver Bolts, and down he will go. That will be the first turret of the game going over to KT in trade for the Rift Herald.
BD gets all that money, and that's huge for him. I think it was a little bit greedy from Dplus to try to go for the Herald early with no protection down there. Siwoo did unfortunately kind of have a bit of a whiff there with his Mega and got zoned out. The Condemn was really good. But if he can buy more time, then maybe this ends up being a better situation for Dplus. Because I think the idea was, okay, he'll hold his own here. They can't dive him. We're going to grab Herald, and then we'll use the Herald to then pressure for Dragon. They can still do that, but they would have liked to not have a dead Gnar and BDD get first break.
Yeah. Probably would have been a little bit of a better thing, as Smash does pick up his Berserker's Greaves. We're going to check this one out one more time, as like you were saying, the Condemn timing, very, very nice. Just layer the CC.
Ruins what she was trying to do here, and he still plays it as well as he can.
Yep.
In live, BDD got sent to the top lane, and he doesn't have Teleport. He has Realm Warp, but it's, you know, only level 2 right now, so I don't think he's going to the Dragon.
Effort is just going to get flashed on and killed once again in the river. And Siwoo is now feeling a little bit better about how this one is going.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, there's no real...
Korea, I think, may have just felt sorry for Effort and is going to go the same way. True Shot Barrage is going to connect, but he does get his shield back.
He's literally Beryl, right?
Yeah, he is. I mean, so is Effort, though. I mean, the spirit of Beryl is alive on both of these teams. Of course, he is a former player of both of them, and so it does make some sense.
He gets away with his life this time, but this is going to be the Dragon going over to Dplus. KT had made the choice to give Dragon, but they also, unfortunately, were still caught in the river with their support, as BDD wants to duel Siwoo here with no MR.
It doesn't really look like a duel, though. It just looks like Siwoo taking a whole bunch of damage and looking to try and escape if he can. Finally, some of these hyperprocs will come on through. And it's a Cloud Soul this game as well. Double Dragon going over to DK. A lot of extra movement speed. I actually feel like Cloud Soul for DK specifically it's kind of nuts.
It's crazy what the value could be for them. Like, all of their ultimates are so high impact. I mean, it's great for Wukong, it's great for Vayne as well, but
also
so
like getting movement speed after pressing depth charge, pretty good here for both keeping Korea alive and for, you know, him to be able to lock down some extra kills. So that's certainly going to be good if they can continue stacking these dragons.
The lead for Smash is still the main issue here for KT Rolster, and you know, they made the call to give Dragon. They were not able to get that topside turret, but I think that if they can stabilize in this mid game, you know, there's still some time left, and if they can get just one Dragon, you know, even this first Cloud Drake, it's so much time bought for this composition to come online because the Smash is on his 2 items incredibly early, and Aiming is still hoping he can get his before 21 minutes. You know,
yeah.
He's had a bit of a rough one. Actually gets it right here at 18:30, and a little bit more gold than I thought. It's more about the fact that Smash is ahead than he's behind in this one, so does pick it up here. But now he's finally kind of a champion, and BDD is one day he'll be one. But if they can kind of survive here and get this Ryze online, Ezreal, Ryze, Vayne late game is pretty crazy. It's pretty insane what damage output they have. And like I said, with Smash and the whole dive composition here for Dplus, if they only kill 1 target, that's not enough if we get to that late game. Right now, they can almost only kill half of 1 target, and it's actually still enough.
Yeah. And also, I mean, DK, if they do kill one of them, then they all just kind of fall like dominoes after that point, right? Unless Cuzz finds incredible angles. With his Cyclone, will have Inspire help there from Effort as well. But I think DK very happy with the spot that they are in the game for now. Problem is that DK have certainly made some eclectic decisions later on in some of their games. And so we'll just have to see whether they can keep their heads on a swivel and make this one work.
I remember it was their team fight outplays that got them that upset win over Gen G, first time in 21 series. So that's where KT will have to fight their way back, is through that good team fighting here.
Yep.
I really favor Dplus right now, even though it looks like, you know, maybe this could fall apart at a moment's notice with an overextension. I think they have the skills to back this up. I think with Smash's lead, he's now going to itemize into AP so he can get his W evolved and really harass KT on objectives. Like, they're doing everything right. I love the build from Smash, especially with the lead he has. It is just
Dusk
so
and Dawn
impressive.
is so ridiculous on this champion as well.
It's so good.
Oh.
Aiming's going in.
Yeah, it's not looking like, without it completed, it's not going to do as much as Aiming just demonstrating the power spike that he's on. And that is going to be Smash heading on back. I think he might look for a little bit of a recall here. I don't know how close he is to his Dusk and Dawn. I think he went for a relatively recent back, picked up a Blasting Wand and the Ruby Crystal, and so might still be a little while away.
Yeah, probably just a few more waves or a team fight win if there is an opportunity. Baron is really the only objective right now, and even though he is very ahead, still a Kai'Sa comp with an Orianna, so not a Baron that you can rush just now. Later on, we'll be able to do it quickly as BD is just going to get away with this. Empowered Recall for the win.
Yep, we'll just be leaving on that one. ShowMaker, actually, BDD stuck around, and so ShowMaker overextended now, unaware of where this Ryze is. Korea, though, moving on over. Cuzz looking to get himself up here as Lucid going to show up, blocks Cuzz's approach. BDD down to 50%, so is ShowMaker, and it looks like both teams a little bit unsure about whether they want to keep fighting, but with BDD leaving, KT do agree that they will stop the chase.
KT had 5, though, and Siwoo is getting some free farm on the edge, as well as Smash just returns back to mid lane very quickly. We'll clear that ward, and also we'll have a lot of extra push. It's got to be close to that Dusk and Dawn, like you were saying.
Pretty smart play, actually, out of DK.
They realized it pretty quickly that there was something suspicious going on. Like, ShowMaker's like, why would he let me push up this far? Then they spotted him and just reacted so quickly. They have a Kai'Sa that can come from mid lane from so far away. Obviously, the Ezreal can impact with True Shot Barrage, but it's just not the same. And I think it was the great call from Dplus the way they played it, and also for KT to back out and not try to go for like a Flash Cyclone commitment there, because that probably would have been the end of the game for them if they messed it up.
Well, Essence Reaver is now completed for Perfect. As Vayne starting to get scary, but it's another blue steal here for Lucid, not to be confused with the Zoolander look. It's a steal of the blue buff. As now, Cuzz goes in, goes out as they look for Effort. Cataclysm onto Aiming, gets the Arcane Shift. A bunch of buttons now on cooldown, but KT still feeling all right. ShowMaker getting closed in on. Shockwave collects only one of them, and they take down the Orianna. The target selection's so good, but on the other side, the same thing happens as DK wipe out the bottom lane. Now, Korea goes in, misses the hook, but hits the death charge, and BDD gets knocked up and taken down. It's a double for Smash as another anchor lands onto Perfect, and it's a triple. Space Vayne is better than regular Vayne, as there is the Void Seeker as well. That's going to get a cheeky little assist there for Smash as the ace comes in for DK.
And it's exactly what you said. If one of these carries falls down for KT at this point, they fall over like dominoes, and Aiming loses half of his health bar. I really like this call to go in for the Realm War, but Aiming actually cannot get in. He's used both his Flash and his Arcane Shift, so he just has to kite his way out. Gets over the wall here as it just barely comes back, but Siwoo gets him over the wall. Smash follows up, And now they're stuck on, and they have to fight their way out of this. Cuzz is trying to peel here, but BDD gets caught by this Nautilus ultimate. And I think if he doesn't get hit by that, maybe they can do enough damage to where more of these KT members get out. But because he is just deleted there by Career, tossing that ultimate in, they just get wiped here. And KT Rolster lose Baron on top of it. As you guys can see in the picture-in-picture, Dusk and Dawn is picked up for Smash. And I think KT is about to lose their second game of the tournament.
Yeah, and he also gets an arm guard. Man, Smash is absolutely huge. He also soloed the Drake at the same time. So it's just kind of getting everything here for DK. Soul Point as well as that Baron. Let's see whether they can use this composition to siege. It doesn't necessarily have the most massive range, but they have a lot of brute force. And Smash will be able to take himself a little bit of Shellfish and collect a red buff here as they now start to see whether they can knock down a few more of these turrets. Inna's still up and available and pretty healthy here on KT's side. As we have a look at the money, man, there's a new Gold King in town and he's named Smash.
A lot of money here for him, and unfortunately, Aiming's lane was just such a disaster early on. He's just possibly never ever going to be relevant in this game. I think for KT, you got to keep yourself in the headspace of we are scaling, and also there's still a best of 3 because things went disastrously wrong. You had the Ezreal Karma lane, but it was unfortunately some misplays down there and some great play from Lucid that just got this Smash, Kai'Sa played by Smash so far ahead that it is just unplayable. And now he's 4.5k up, sitting on 3.5 items, and they're looking to end this game.
Yeah, they're pushing in at least. This inner turret not long for the world as Siwoo should be able to secure that one. The 4-1 working out nicely. As finally KT do come over. They should actually be able to defend this, so spoke a little bit untruly there, but DK with the push advantage and this Baron buff will really be able to pull KT around the map wherever they would like. Another minion wave crashes in the mid lane. That is going to spell the end of that inner. So it feels like only a matter of time. The DK are going to be able to wear them down. KT probably going to have to go for a bit of a Hail Mary play here.
The Ryze is doing massive work here for KT because the wave clear is so good with this champ. They even have a Karma, right, and Ezreal is decent, so it's going to buy them a lot of space here to try to buy time for at least keeping 2 inhibitors alive rather than losing both of them. Like, that's what I mean at the bottom and the mid. I don't think they're even going to get the one on the bottom, though, because they could just rotate aiming and effort over here. And in fact, as Baron push is kind of stymied now, and I think that's fair for Dplus. You're so ahead, back off, get more control over the map, play for Dragon. Your soul is within reach. You know, if you get that Cloud Soul, this game is already unlosable.
Yeah.
You don't want to just keep pushing into this Ryze wave clear and just lose sight of the lead that you have. You want to get the reset that you want. And they do that. And they still have 30 seconds of Baron left to maintain prio and then push some deeper vision. And they have so much of it already.
Next Baron might be what they're looking for, as Aiming does collect his Spear of Sojourn. So he has 3 items now, but we're very close to a Zhonya's being done for Smash. This Kai'Sa is a very big deal.
And he might not even need to use his arm guard, which wouldn't shock anyone considering the game state.
Yeah, he basically already has Zhonya's, doesn't he? Because he hasn't actually broken that arm guard just yet. So some crystalline overgrowth to be taken down here, as they will be able to look for their last inner turret with the dregs of this Baron. It does finally wear off. It's all the warrior tricks of timing from Cuzz. Just gorgeous. And that will avoid that, but it won't stop this turret from being obliterated.
Dplus get a ton of money off of this Baron, but they don't get the inhibitors. And for KT, that was the goal. You know, you're just hanging on by a thread with those inhibitors alive. And maybe you could scale up, right? I mean, giving this Dragon over feels horrible, and maybe they could set up some sort of crazy angle to contest it, but they may just simply have to give it and pray for that late game Elder fight to be theirs.
They also never get any of their buffs, though. Like, DK just own the entirety of the map right now, and there is just, it feels like there's no way for KT to get in, because Effort, as soon as he walks anywhere to get vision, he's dead. No matter who finds him, they just kill him.
They just cannot get out of the base right now. And I think trying to fight for a buff is exactly what Dplus wants. You know, trying the fight in, you know, prio for mid. It's exactly what Dplus wants. Look, Career's fishing for it. All the while, Siwoo has teleport and is pushing the top lane. The setup here for Dplus macro-wise is phenomenal. Doing everything right.
Steric's completed here for the Gnar. Very close to that Wit's End being done. And that means that BDD matching him in side lanes is going to be a little bit more difficult as we get the full zoom out. A huge teleport angle for the Gnar, as Siwoo's Gnar is in a pretty good position, but he's right on top of a ward and a little bit too close to KT, but he gets out. I don't know how he managed to, but he managed to. As Career goes in, probably wants to go back out. As KT also, I mean, they don't want to fight. but they would have really liked a free Gnar.
Yeah,
but
for
now, Siwoo uses it to get himself a couple of plates in this mid lane as well, and push KT completely away from this dragon. So somehow, it actually works out as he gets the Gnar to get him out of the Cyclone. The Realm Warp does nothing at all as they opt out of that play. And now without Cyclone, KT cannot teamfight at all, ever. They still might have to, though, as the Shockwave needs to get flashed out there by BDD. In goes Shield, looking for an angle once again. He's down very low. That Steric Shield did some work, but they do take out the Gnar. Smash gets the Void Seek on the aiming, somehow threading the needle into the back line. And KT, they get a pick and lose no one.
KT pushing now to try to challenge this mid wave for the first time in forever. The mid-outer is still on 4 plates right now. And KT are not going to push any further, but I think Dplus, you could have just taken the dragon for free. The teleport flank for, well, I mean, it cost Siwoo his life ultimately in the end. Yeah. He went for the TP play. They got the flash out of effort, at least on that initial setup there. But I think that TP play was a bridge too far. And then Siwoo has no flash, and he's walking forward here. Like, this is greed. This is unnecessary.
He had no Mega Gnar, so it was just a little bit of an odd maneuver.
Also, ShowMaker trying to hit a flash-holding Ryze with the... actually, he didn't even flash it. I thought BDD flashed that.
I thought he did too.
But anyways, he had flash.
It flashed it instead. I guess someone flashed out of the Shockwave.
Yeah, it wasn't effort. It was Cuzz in that case. But either way, you know, trying to look for that play means you lost your tool. Maybe Siwoo didn't get the memo that Shockwave wasn't up anymore. Anyways, they're still massively ahead. They're in total control of this game, but I don't think they should have given that freebie over.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to write that down as a little bit of a note. Like, maybe check this one out for next time, guys. That was not a perfect play. Speaking of perfect, he is now discovering that there's a Siwoo towards the southern side of the map, as the Condemn is going to be used pretty early. Mega Gnar is going to come on through. And DK looking to make their way back towards the Baron after pushing KT away.
KT are just playing Wave Clear Simulator. You know, they're just clearing these waves.
This Baron just goes down so quickly as well.
They can't contest it. And the Elder isn't up for 4 minutes. And KT, their best bet, and even this is kind of a stretch, is to try to push and grab bounty off of this turret.
And ShowMaker, you can see, he can block off so much terrain with the orb. Korea is there as well.
They're trying
as the Baron has been taken. Cuzz this time doesn't hit the Warrior Trickster, as he does finally press the button, but there's the depth charge onto Perfect. Shockwave mops up the monkey, and DK are looking for even more. KT run in the wrong direction. The exhaust is good from Perfect. That'll keep him alive with the Inspire Shield there as well, but the rest of DK swoop in and look to take down BDD. That'll be their first prize as Perfect teleports away. I just don't think that that's going to be winning them the game, as DK are just looking to finish off the stragglers, aiming being one of them, as the Arcane shifts away. The flash in from Lucid hits him again with that QE flash. And DK will break open the base now. Let's see whether they can even push to end.
I think they can. There's just not enough wave clear here anymore. BDD is down for 30 seconds. That should be the game. Dplus, one small error, but one we can easily forgive. KT thought, I'm not giving Baron for free. I'm getting mid-turret. DK said, we're getting Baron, and we're going to get the win right with it.
It's the final hour here for Perfect, and let's see whether he can make it work, as the Shockwave does not connect. The Void Seeker does, though. 4 seconds on the Killer Instinct, but there's no seconds on the Nexus. It's going to be taken down, and DK continue their reign of terror over the LCK. First it was Gen G, now it's KT. We'll see whether they can break the winning streak.